cannot wait for you to see today's projects, and we're going to jump into them right now. Starting on our little gift DIY is this monster round. This baby is 24 inches wide, and I got it from Home Depot, and it was like a little less than 14 bucks. So I thought it was a pretty good steal. However, there's a bunch of gaps in it, but that's okay. I actually just recently bought some Starbond gap filler, and this one is the thick formula. And so once I finally figure out that I need to, trim off the top of the tube so that I can actually use it, I will then fill up all of those gaps that are in it. Like I said, it wasn't horrible. This was like the best one out of the bunch, but it needed a little bit of repair. So once I first apply the gap filler, and then I'm going to use some of the spray accelerator. It dries it up really quick, and I'm going to do that to all of the knots, all of the holes, just to make it where I'm going to have a nice, clean, easy surface. You know what I mean? Like no bumps. I went ahead and stained it. I sanded it and stained it, and I stained it. I will list the name of it below because it escapes me right now. And then I went ahead and downloaded this this little, saying off of Creative Fabrica, and I just went ahead and cut it out with my Cricut, and now I have applied it as kind of making it more like a stencil. So this baby, it took some work to get it straight. Now when you're looking at it right now, if you're thinking, yeah, that's not straight, I tore it off and redid it, but I didn't feel the need to show it to you again. So I went ahead and did that, and then I'm just going to go through and make sure everything is nice and flush, and I will also add some painter's tape all around the edges because, let's face it, I do not trust myself to not mess up, and I don't want to get black paint all over it. So I'll do that all the way around, and then I'm going to take a little foam roller brush and some Waverly chalk paint in the color ink. And what you can't see, oh, right there, is actually that's the backing of all of my Cricut vinyl, because why waste it, right? I'm just going to put all my paint on there to use with my foam roller brush. And you kind of just load it up, and you're just going to start rolling it on. Now this is obviously a much faster speed than what I actually did it at. I did it much slower than this so that I wouldn't, go crazy and get it all over the rest of the round. And like I said, though, it's pretty easy. I like doing this method with a roller brush on these bigger designs. If you have something smaller, a little foam brush to just to dab up and down would work just fine too. I did do this about 3 coats. Then once we are done, I am going to speed through this because you probably don't want to watch the entire thing. But I'm going to go ahead and start removing all of the vinyl. Now, the last time I actually made something on a wood project with using, the painting on top of the vinyl stuff, I let it sit for like 6 or 8 hours, and that's a mistake. Don't do that. Now, I did dry them. I didn't want it to be wet. It's like just barely dry, like not, I don't know, it's dry to the touch. It's not like I'm gonna mess it up, because that's what I'm always afraid of. If I try to do this when it's wet, I would touch it and smear it and everything. But it is dry enough to the touch where you can do this, but I definitely don't recommend leaving it sit for very long, because like I said, the last time I did this, it sat for a long time, and I had paint flakes everywhere, and thank goodness it was in a white color and not the black, because the black, that stuff would have like smeared. This stuff is, like I said, don't let it get all over your project. Kind of brush it off as you go along and that kind of thing. Now this is another wood round, as you will see. It used to be a riser, and I was lazy when I made it and didn't stain or paint the bottom, but that's okay. So I'm going to take off my feet, and I actually believe this was done with some hot glue and wood glue, so I heated it up, and then I'm taking just a little putty knife and a mallet just to get those feet off. And like I said, those babies, they were stuck on there. So I did stain that wood round in the color Ebony, and as you can see right now, there's just 2 wood rounds. That is because this is going to become a Lazy Susan, a very big Lazy Susan that I have the hardware for, but I needed to order another little tool to make sure I was in the middle, because this is a gift actually for my dad, and he's a carpenter, so this isn't a project you mess up. Not for a carpenter. So I'm gonna have to come back with a second video, a little to be continued continued that you'll see hopefully next week. I'll just show you just making like the hardware part of it, adding them, putting them together, and all of that. So to be continued. Now today's video is with some gift ideas with all of these lovely ladies, and our host is Jamie from Simple Roots, Simple Living. She is like my YouTube bestie. We chat on Instagram, FaceTime on Instagram, whatever you call it, all the time. She's absolutely amazing. Go check out her channel. You will not be disappointed. And her co-host is Sandra from the Chauvin's Nest, and you talk about classic, amazing projects. You definitely need to go check her out. I don't know if you've seen her channel before. If you haven't, you're in for a treat. You're gonna love it. Go check out her channel too, and everybody who's gonna be on. Now it's kind of fun. I'm gonna leave the link for the next creator, and you're just gonna jump over there and check out their video. All right, on to our next project. We are using a blowtorch, and I'm outside because I wasn't risking this going badly. So what I'm taking is some little wood coasters. Now I got these from Hobby Lobby already cut out. Obviously you can cut up whatever else it is that you want to do this to, but you just take your blowtorch or your little like kitchen torch, whatever you have or want to pick up. This one I got from Home Depot. You can get them pretty inexpensive, and they work out really nicely. Actually, I really love this whole technique. And you just take and obviously like this, the further away you are from the wood is the less burned look you're gonna get. And I put down just like a little cutting board underneath me just so I didn't burn up the pavers and have to hear my husband yell at me for it. And so those were the little coasters. Now I had to change because I was getting hot. It was warm outside. It's like 80 degrees right now in Florida. And I'm going to do it the same thing. These are kind of like my little holders for the coasters. And these are actually, I'm making a total of 7 of these. These are actually for coworkers. I thought they were cute little things. They've seen me do the torched wood stuff before, so I thought that they would really appreciate that. And I think they will. I think they're going to like them. And I thought about adding in their names on the front of the box, but then I tried to cut it out and I was having a bad Cricut day. Sometimes that happens, right? Sometimes you just have a bad Cricut day. And I'm going to even torch the top part of the box. And it's like I said, it's a little pyro-ish, but it's kind of fun to burn things. So there we go. We're all done with the burning. And now you can do a lot of things. You can stain it or you can just seal it like this. I chose just to go ahead and take some shellac, and I'm just going to go ahead and do a coat of the shellac. And it's pretty easy. I'm going to speed through it. All right, so we're just going to stir that up really good. And then, I mean, it's really liquidy, and make sure, as always, whenever you're applying any of this kind of stuff, you want to make sure you're in a pretty well ventilated room. And on these ones, you just wipe them down. You don't want to leave any of that, burnt residue. And then on here, I'm using a brush, just a regular paintbrush. But what I would recommend is easier to do is actually if you use one of those little foam brushes. I don't know if there's a better way to clean it. When I tried to clean anything with water, it just kind of became instantly gunked up. Maybe if you guys have used the shellac before, you can tell me why that is, or if there's something better to clean it with. Let me know in the comments. Like I said, this is actually my very first time using it, and from my whole experience of making these, I would say use a foam brush and just throw it in the garbage, unless you guys know of a better way to clean it. So I am going to do is I'm going to do a full layer front and back, and then on the front sides I am going to do a second layer, and I'll show you how to go about doing that in just a minute. We're just going to watch me paint for a little while apparently. But I mean, I really like one thing it does, that it doesn't add a ton of color, but it brings out the color. It kind of just amps it up just a little bit. And if you want to, like I said, you can definitely add a stain to it, or if you wanted to, you can leave it bare. You can just all kinds of different things you can do. I would definitely recommend sealing it with something though, because it is going to get water. Now once you've let it dry at least an hour and you're going to add a second coat to anything, you're just going to sand it with a fine grit sandpaper, and then you can add your second coat, and they're all done. And here it is. It turned out really cute, and I think it's just going to be perfect little, office gift idea. Now on to another one. This is actually for my hairstylist. I'm taking just a piece of pine board that I got from Home Depot and I'm sanding it down. I'm going to sand it with a pretty fine. Now, the pine is a lot softer, so just be aware of that depending on what you're going to be making with it. I like to sand all of my corners. I kind of give it a rounded, effect. Obviously, it's not going to be like perfectly sharp cornered, perfectly sharp, shape. Like it's rectangular in shape, but it's going to have some, spots that divot in a little bit more or a little bit less. I'm okay with it. It's a little bit on the rustic side, so it's going to be a charcuterie board. It doesn't need to be perfect. Once I am finished with that, I'm just going to clean it up and put it on inside to do some charcuterie. There's a little twist to this though. So I've got this one. It is called the Gather Vines. This is an 8x10 size, so pretty inexpensive. You can use these babies like up to 10 times, sometimes more. First, I am going to fuzz them. What that is going to do is just going to add a little bit of fuzz, obviously, on the back of the sticky part, and it'll make it to where it's not as sticky. And I'm just going to apply it straight to my board. I skipped out on any wax or anything like that, and I am going to use some torch paste. Normally I would use the chalk paste that you can purchase from Charcuterie. This is a little different, and I'm using like this teeny tiny little squeegee, and it's like, actually it's half of a mini squeegee, and I really should have used just a regular mini squeegee. In a second I'm going to get up and get one. But you just apply it just like you would chalk paste, where you're just going to put it all over the transfer wherever there's the screen. And what's really cool about it is it is going to apply, and you're going to see it here in just a minute. They do have it colored so you can actually see, it once it's applied. But it goes through the screen just like it would if it was one of the Charcuterie pastes. And then you basically smudge on however much you need, and then you take off the excess just like you would if it was a chalk paste. You guys, this is going to be really cool. I was really excited about this. I didn't want to commit it to like too crazy of a big project because you never know. I could have caught my house on fire. I didn't. Obviously, I'm here now talking to you from my house. So I take off all of the excess just like you normally would, and then I'm going to peel it back, and I am going to peel it rather slow because I didn't wax the board, and I probably could have fuzzed it a little bit more, so it's really stuck on there. Just peel it really slow as to make sure you don't actually stretch it. Now I am going to take my heat gun. This needs to be like one of those hardcore heat guns. I put my little nozzle on it, and I'm going to let it heat up, and then I'm going to start applying the heat to the paste. Now when you do this, you have to make sure your paste has dried all the way, and you're going to get the magic. And I'm sorry the heat gun's kind of in the way, but you just basically slowly go over it. This is sped up a little bit, so it's not this quick. Obviously, I don't make motions quite that, fast. And you just apply the heat to it, and it's going to burn the wood. I mean, exactly the way it sounds, right? And I'll link where I found this torch paste. If you want to pick any up, you can. I just, like I said, I bought this myself because I kind of loved the idea of it. And it was like the perfect little thing to do on, anything like charcuterie board, ornaments, whatever. This is really fun to do. And I think the person who actually owns this, company, brand, whatever, has a YouTube channel as well. Then I'm going to take some food grade mineral oil, and I am just going to go ahead and apply that to my board. I'm going to just show you the one coat, and I do end up doing a total of about 4 coats. And I believe typically you want to reapply it like every month or every time you wash it, or however you would normally do to a board. There's other different things you can use to seal it up too. This is just what was recommended by the person who does the torch paste. And I'm going to be making another one of these pretty soon. You're probably going to see it later in the week. Honestly, I have a video coming up on Friday, and I think I'm going to be making something with another torched design. I can't wait. So here is the final result, though. I think this is going to be a nice little gift too. I almost thought about keeping it for myself, but I'm going to give it away. I'm going to give it as a gift. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to check out the next creator that will be linked for you below. tell them I sent you, and make sure you guys are having a great, wonderful holiday season. Come back on Friday because it is my Crafting for a Cause, and I cannot wait for you guys to see what I'm making. And I'll see you guys then. Bye.